Should be going live any moment. Thank you. And people talk. See, and now it's loading. All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still setting up, running a little bit behind today. I apologize about that. I just want to make sure I have sound. I should be good. Okay. Oh, I am really not set up today. Unlike me there, so you can see these big blues. Even though I'm not a white boy, blue eyed guy, so I got, brown eyes. It's all good. Y'all gotta love it though. There's a figure of speech. I got we're supposed to be sending this live out. So I'm gonna do that right now. Uh, as we proceed to give you what you need, pun intended. We're getting ready to. We started up right now, so a couple of people even tuned in already to see what we was doing. We here now. We about to rock. Yo, we're talking about this Diddy thing, right? There is a lot going on in this trial. If you haven't been following the trial, we do a weekly readout with me and an industry insider by the name of Ice Water. Ice was a platinum selling artist. Ooh, should I mess with this? Yeah, I'm gonna mess with this a smidge. My baby girls. Proud single father. Raised this one right here. She's 24. By myself from the age of 7. She's a grown woman now. Doing grown woman things. Not the Diddy style grown woman things. I don't gotta kill nobody. And this baby girl right here, she 8 now. That's her right there. This right here is her on a roller coaster with me when she was this age. This girl right here is the little one. I was by myself with her for 6 months. Y'all probably don't want to hear all about that, but understand the proud daddy situation I got going on here. Feel me? So anyway, I'm supposed to be talking about this Diddy thing. And I know y'all wondering, is he going to jail? What you should be wondering is, did he do it? Now let's talk about that a little bit. Because that's a big thing. Did he do it? Did he do what? We spoke about a lot of this leading up to now. I broke down definitions of words. Like the big thing floating around right now is Rico. And I don't mean Rico. I'm gonna slide over a little bit. Just bring my microphone over a little, something, be more centered. I don't mean Rico Suave. I don't mean the Rico that quit his defense team. I mean the charge. I mean the Rico charge. This is serious offense. Rico consists of, well, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna give y'all a game, right? Because y'all don't know what Rico is. Some of y'all might have an idea what Rico is. When you think Rico, you think gangsters in the street with shooting up people and kidnapping them. Remember something, right? When John Gotti went to jail, he didn't go for no bodies. He didn't go for all them bodies in the street. He went for tax evasion. See, when the feds come for you, they come different, right? The feds ain't playing with you. The feds ain't playing them, you're gonna get a chance to get out games. Like Diddy's in court, the same one that probably Gotti went to, right? Southern District of New York. They cover Manhattan and the Bronx. The conviction rate is something like 97%. Let me tell you something. That means they don't win every case. That's true, right? But if my chances of winning was 97%, I'd play the Powerball every day. Because if I miss 3 times out of 100, what? These are magnificent odds. 97% chance if you're going against the odds, you got a long uphill battle. One time I got arrested for something that I was guilty of. I didn't know I was committing a crime. I would not have done it. And it was a felony. So, and when I went in, I was like, but I didn't do nothing. All I did was this. I should at least be over there. Like, why y'all got me on the felony side? Like I did a misdemeanor. You said, what you do? I said, what I did. He looked at me, looked down, shook his head, looked back up to me, and said, you have a long uphill battle. And them words stuck with me. I lied and beat it. And I lied, you know. I didn't know I was doing something wrong. I wouldn't have done it. It was something stupid, man. I'm not going to talk about what it is, but it was stupid. And it gave me an understanding. Like, they let me go. I understood how it really worked because I had one of them court lawyers, and I could tell when I was in the court that they had made their mind up before I walked through the door. And the fact I was like, yo, and the lie I made up worked, and he believed it, I could tell I was already off, but I had to play the game. It's a game. But at the end of the day, there's certain things you don't want. It's kind of beefs you don't really want to have, right? Like, you don't want to be the street hustler going up against John Gotti. It looked good in that Batman spinoff Penguin. That was a fly television show. But you don't really want to be the Penguin going up against the man. You're going to die. It's great for TV, great for movies. Punisher, Lone Wolf, great. Great stuff. Magnificent. You do not want to be the Punisher going up against somebody for real. And the reason is you're going to die. Right? So let's make this perfectly clear. I know it sounds like, oh, why are you giving people no chance in these situations? It's because you don't have a chance. You're going to die. I mean, you might kill a few people on the way out, but if you think you're going to go into a room full of armed mercenaries and be the Punisher and stab a few and spin the guy around and they catch a few bullets in their back, you're watching too much TV or movies or whatever the case may be. Maybe you read too many books. Maybe you're in the comic books or whatever. In real life, your chances are pretty slim and you're not going to make it, right? I've worked with some of the greatest martial artists in the world, guys with multiple world championships, guys that can disarm you with a gun like that. Trust me when I tell you. You know what they say? And at least 3 of them have told me something very, very similar. Shout out to Paul Momondo for being the last one to say it to me. If someone has a gun to my head, I'm giving him what he wants. I'm not trying to take the gun from him. And he showed me how to do the move he uses. He has a couple of them. Everybody does. All the martial artists they can do something like 10 different ways. But he said, I'm not doing that. Why? Because chances are 97% that I'm just making the number, using the number in the situation. You're gonna pull that trigger. Your finger's gonna pull that trigger faster than I can bring my hands up to do the move, and then he can move it like lightning speed, like fast. If you blink, he's gonna get you. Literally, like literally, if you blink, it's too late. But if you don't blink, you're gonna pull the trigger, and nobody wants them kind of odds. Now, when you're doing the move, you're moving out the way at the same time. You're not standing there doing a static move. The risks are too high, and it's the same thing going up against the feds. Because you know this is what it's going, right? You're talking about the Diddy trial. We're talking about the feds, right? So I'm working, I'm setting this stuff up while I'm talking to you guys, right? Right. So Diddy's going up against the feds. This is probably not going to be an easy battle. The feds are not going to get you for all the bodies like the dude, like we spoke about this, right? So we got, I'm getting focused. So you're going to get a more focused energy now. I'm just setting this up now so that I could be ready when we start at 9 p.m. So you're gonna get you're gonna get charges. You're not gonna like boom. You got Latanya Harding. Is it Latanya Harding? Latanya Rubin. Latanya Rubin is the young lady that was shot in a nightclub in the late 90s. There was a rapper that was working under Diddy's label at the time by the name of Shine. People did not like him too much. He came out, he sounded like Biggie. He did not have Biggie's flow. He did not have Biggie's lyrics, but his voice kind of sounded like Biggie. It seemed like that's where Puffy was going by having an artist with a similar sounding voice. So the streets wasn't feeling him, but the kind of was because it was kind of like having Biggie back. So it was a mixed emotion. So they're in this nightclub, they chilling, and Natanya Rubin gets shot in the face. Y'all probably remember the incident. He was there with another famous actress, songwriter, dancer by the name of Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, Jenny from the Block. Jenny from the Block was there. She saw what happened. She is an accessory. I'm not going to say that. Maybe she brought the gun in and got it out. Who knows? What did happen, that's a fact, is Natanya was like, I saw who shot me. How did you see who shot you? It was in the face. I was looking at the man that shot me. Sean was like, I did it. I shot her. Sean did 10 years for it. When he came out, he was like, yo, Diddy did me dirty. He was supposed to pay me for taking a rap for him. I ain't get paid. And then he got shipped off to his country, where he is now currently presiding as some sort of dignitary. He's in Congress or something like that. He's a politician. Natanya's story hasn't changed from the beginning. She said Diddy did it. I saw that. Diddy did it. That's what she's been saying since the 90s. Her story has not changed. Why is she not being called to the stand? When you can surround witnesses, you can call J-Lo. Woo! You can call Natanya. You can call Shine, who would be happy to get that dude back. I did this time for you, and you did me dirty. Diddy did me dirty. So Natanya got shot. She doesn't get called. You have another dude, if somebody else. Big time gangster in the West Coast. By the name of Keefe D. Keefe D thought that he had some sort of protection. So he was running his mouth. Like that dude running his mouth crazy, you heard? And the things he was saying might not have been in his best interest. Maybe he shouldn't have said some of the things he was saying. But he was saying them. And, it is what it is. One of the main things he was saying was, Oh, I'm sorry. One of the main things he was saying was Puffy paid me to shoot Tupac. We got paid $100,000. I think it was $100,000 to off Tupac. Now I'm not gonna say the feds believed him, because God knows that maybe that's not true, right? However, okay. However, wait, this just did the wrong thing. Dude, forgive me. This is what happens when you're doing 10 different things at once. Because that's what just happened. I did the wrong thing. Trying to set up when I'm running my jibs. Sorry about that. Let's not save. Let's leave here. And I just messed up. Let's go here and figure out what's going on. Are y'all live with me? All right, so y'all are here. All right. I don't lost my train of thought. I apologize. Too much going on. With Diddy, there's a lot going on. Normally, we don't even do lives, right? We're doing a live today because so much happened this week that we got to cover it all. And I want people's opinions on what they think about the situation. So, anyway, let's do Keefe D. He takes the money. I listen, $100,000. Him and he said his nephew, they all take this bread. Tupac gets shot, and he's walking around talking about we did it and Puffy paid us. He's running his mouth so much that apparently he didn't have the deal he thought he had, right? And he got caught out there. He got caught out there. And what do I mean by that? What's caught out there mean? That's a big statement. By caught out there, what I mean is the feds locked him up because of his testimony that he killed Tupac and Puffy paid him to do it. His testimony was enough for them to lock him up. The feds didn't bring that up in his trial. They're like, we're going to just stick to the easy to prove facts. And I don't know that they should have done it that way. When Natanya Rubin and Keefe D and what's his name, his oldest son, I'll be sure, is not actually his son. He raised him, so it's his son. I raised, if I raise a kid, he's mine. But the biological father of his eldest son is I'll be sure. Kim Porter, mother of multiple children of his, was married to this man, I'll be sure, at one time. They had a child, King Combs, I believe it is, not King. Shoot, I don't know which Combs it is. But he raised that kid. Honorable. He raised somebody else. That's honorable. It's hard to step in and just be like, yo, I'm gonna raise this kid like he's mine, it's not your kid. That's super honorable. I have a lot of respect for Puffy for that. One more time. Let me make sure this is the correct. My guy's asking me, am I in this live? And I'm like, where else could I be? Is there one live going? Let me double check because now I'm kind of curious. So Keefe D gets locked up for testifying that he shot Tupac or was in the car when Tupac was shot, conspiracy to commit murder, based on testimony, and then the feds don't bring him to Puffy's trial. Would somebody please explain how that works? I mean, if I have somebody sitting in jail because they testified about a murder that they may or may not have committed, and then the person that supposedly paid them, the person that runs the conspiracy, goes to trial for RICO charges and he doesn't come in, he's not sure, he's not testifying, the feds don't call him, I'm gonna ask why. One of three things. They don't believe him, and let's investigate that. Don't believe him, right? So you don't believe him, but you have him locked up for the charge? So you believe him. So that's off the table. Right, got you. What's the second one? Second one is the charges are not strong enough to stick. You don't have enough. Now, that's a possibility. But then why are you holding this man in jail if you don't have enough to hold somebody on the charges? Huh? Number three. Wait, there's only two. I can't think of a three. Why is Keefe D not here? Why is Nathaniel Harding not here? Well, we're back at examining Rico. Well, first, let me make sure that my guest is coming on. We gotta have the man who is actually the insider. I'm just a dog trying to get a bone. So Rico is racketeering, influenced, corrupt organization. Now, everybody knows what influence means. You know what corrupt means. You probably have a pretty good idea that organization means enterprise. So an influence, corrupt organization, a racketeering, influence, corrupt organization. So what is racketeering? That is where things get a little dicey. Everybody thinks, racketeering. They picture in the street, mad dead bodies, and then they arrest somebody for tax evasion. And so you're like, but that's not all right. So is that what they're doing to Puffy? So for that, you have to define racketeering. I don't know if I should do this after we get started or not, but I'm running my jibs now. So I'm gonna define racketeering. And we're gonna do this, and we're gonna use Gemini, Google Gemini. Racketeering is a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business. Racketeering is defined by a coordinated effort by multiple people to repeatedly earn a profit, typically by fraud, extortion, bribery, threats, violence, or other illegal means. Now, I mentioned one word twice in this. That is where things get dicey. So when John Gotti was evading taxes, he was attempting to keep the money he made off the books through illegal means, but they didn't get him for the illegal means. They got him for not paying and using in the conspiracy to commit fraud by keeping that money that was supposed to go to the IRS. Puffy, in everything they're saying, is he profiting? We're going to dig a little deeper into that. As a matter of fact, during this, once we start in about 5 minutes, I'm definitely going to, because the judge said something, the defense attorney said something about profiting as well. But that being said, I'm not the only one who's saying it now. I have been saying it for 3 to 4 weeks out of the 7, maybe 5. But let me make sure that the guest is going to be here. Give me a moment. And you're watching behind the scenes as we make magic happen. Because we do make magic happen here at the think tank. Even though at the present moment he is not picking up. And I spoke to him, so this is a little nervous. Oh, there you go. All right, we're live. We've been live for about 20 minutes. And we're going on in 10 minutes. Well, we're supposed to begin in 10 minutes, so you can come in whenever you want. When should I expect you? Are you going to get ready to come on now? Excellent. So Ice Water, formerly of the Nubian Mob, our residential industry insider, from the 90s is about to join us so that we have an industry insider take on everything that's happening during this trial. He's a fascinating individual, and his insights have me shutting up and listening. And if you've been watching me for the last 25 minutes, you probably realize me shutting up and listening says, because I don't shut up. I keep talking. But this dude here, the stuff he says, his insights, because of the things he's seen and the experiences he's had, are not only noteworthy, but to be quite frank, astounding. So I'm going to walk him through to make sure he gets on. You got the link? What time is it? Cool, because we got 4 minutes. And I just want to just keep on. I just want to make sure I'm not missing. Okay. Uh, let's get off the phone and do it, because maybe since you're using your phone. Yeah, yeah. If you have a problem, call me back. All right. Well, we're trying to get him on. He's having technical difficulties. These things happen. And I'm excited to get started. We have a whole list of stuff to talk about today, baby. I'm gonna pull this screen over here. And the reason I'm putting the screen over here is for anybody who wants to talk in the chat and join the conversation. I want to be able to converse with you. So I'm not even going to respond there. Thanks for coming, Robert. Sorry to keep you waiting. We're going to be talking about Diddy. Surety, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. Thank you for joining us. I'm waiting now for our guest, an industry insider who was around with Diddy when Diddy was at his peak in the 90s. He was also at his peak. He was a rapper that had a platinum album, who seems to be having a little bit of trouble getting on today, which is uh okay. He seems to be having problems, and we're supposed to be starting now. This is absolutely unorthodox, not normal. Let me get this guy. Oh boy. Hey Ice, what's going on, bro?
I'm not getting it. I can't get it.
Ah, that's wonderful.
Try it again.
Let me see something. And yeah, because we're supposed to be starting now. I apologize, everybody. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
It says join meeting, right?
Yes.
I hit it. Not.
What do you mean nothing?
Meaning when you hit join meeting.
Hold on, let me follow it through. I'm hitting the button and it's working for me, so it's definitely the right link. Oh no, hit the don't hit join meeting. Hit the actual link. The https://.
Okay.
I apologize, everybody. We're going to get Ice in here and we're going to get started. So, as I was saying, I'm not so sure that I would want to say this is Rico.
Okay.
Are you in?
No. Hold on.
Because a Rico charge seems to entail making a profit. I don't see the profit in sex parties. So, and that's what they're. Well, we're gonna go over what happened during the week. I got to get Ice in here.
Yeah, I'm having technical difficulties.
Yes, we're experiencing technical difficulties, and I can't guide him in while I'm going through. The link works. I don't know why you.
I don't know.
It's definitely working.
I had joined meeting like I always do. Tonight, for some reason, it's not coming.
Oh, hold on, wait. I see you. You're in the waiting room. It's on me at this point. I don't know why it's not. Huh? No, that's me. That's when I tried to do it the second time. I don't know what's happening.
Either, bro.
Well, this is very inconvenient. I might have to just forward without you at this point. I don't want to have to do that. Oh, you okay? I don't understand. Did you? I'm gonna resend the link. I just want you to click the link. Like we've done this a million times. You've never had the problem. Try it one more time.
I see.
So Diddy is definitely 100% guilty of multiple things. Well, I can't say that. That has to be proven in a court of law. And it is not being proven. It's being proven up. Here comes Ice. All right, you're in.
That's right, sir.
All right, I'm hanging up. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're back.
All right.
Right.
This is my boy, my man, Ice Water. And for those of y'all who don't know who he is, we're gonna play a little clip of something he's done of one of his songs right quick, so y'all can see why having Ice Water aboard is a blessing. Somebody who's been in the industry, who understands the industry more than me. I was an aspiring rapper, but I never signed a contract to get done the things that this man has done. So he's a whole different level to your street rap, and I was good. I had contracts offered to me and all that. I was good. But when you actually sign and become the artist in the label, you're a whole different beast. So I never had that. I never did that. So with all the things that I have done, he has an understanding of what's going on in this industry that I didn't garnish. And so I want y'all to take a look and see who he is. Raekwon presents Ice Water. I didn't know you were on with Raekwon.
No, actually, Raekwon got the name from me. I'm the first Ice Water.
Oh, he stole your name?
Yeah.
Since you get for eating RZA in the park, bro. Should have left RZA alone. You ain't let that man live when he came out there?
Yeah, I think that's how he got it.
You think RZA got it from? That sounds... Yeah. I don't want to make no enemies of Wu-Tang.
Me neither. I'm just saying you gotta use the truth for what it is. Now, when you want to go
I can't find a music video.
All you got to do is deal with receipts.
And I want to get into this trial.
Yes, the trial is. I've seen a lot. I was watching some guys today.
Hold on, wait. We're gonna do this just so that they can, you know what I mean, see what it is. Computer's running a little slow. Forgive me, y'all. And then we gotta first welcome to the think tank. We use creative thinking, deductive reasoning, and just a pinch of common sense to draw logical, unbiased conclusions. Excuse me. And today we're
Mm-hmm.
back again with the man, Ice Water. For those of y'all who don't know, Ice Water was a hit artist in the 90s. I didn't put on the sound, but y'all can see what it is. Should have put the sound on. My apologies. Just so y'all know who we dealing with. You know, and like I should let them hear a little something because you are a artist, right?
Yes, sir.
And somehow I lost it. I lost it. I did that. Interesting. All right, I'm not gonna hold up. I've been holding on too long. We need to get into this. They can understand that you're an artist. You was signed to the industry. You was with a few different labels, included but not limited to MCA, Warner Brothers, and so on. So Puffy was somebody that you've dealt with. You weren't very close with him or anything like that, but you knew him. You went to camp with him and so on. So you're an industry person. This is like you're the real deal. You said you was watching the trial. What
Mm-hmm.
is it that stuck out to you in the trial that, as an artist, affects, as someone who's been at the top of the game, that you saw that affects your personal outtake on what's going on with Diddy?
Well, what I seen with all the people from the outside looking in, giving them their insight, they was they were really jumbled and they were just arguing over stuff that really makes it look bad for the whole as people. So that I did see. I did definitely seen it. I seen his kids and all that. They was out there doing, coming in, going in the van, going in the court, going back in the van. And what I see is that there's a lot of people out there that have their opinions on what's happening. And like you and like me, like everybody, all we can do is say we can't wait. We gotta wait until the facts are out until the end. We're kind of all that iffy. We don't know, you know, and that's the truth. We can sit and go through it, but the bottom line is we don't know what's really gonna go down. Now, I heard people talking about the Mann Act. I heard people talking about they're gonna
What's the
catch
Man
them.
Act? I don't know that one. What's the Man Act about?
The Mann Act is actually it's like a guy that brings people in from other places to their facility and pay them to do certain illicit things. I'll say that. So,
Hold on, I gotta do some research. I don't know the Man Act.
right,
What is it? The Man Act, also known as the White Slave Traffic Act,
right.
is a U.S. federal law enacted in 1910.
Mm-hmm.
This is according to Google AI, known as Gemini, I believe. It probably makes it a crime it primarily makes it a crime to transport individuals across state lines for
Right.
prostitution,
Mm-hmm.
debauchery, or any other immoral purpose. The act was a product of the Progressive Era and aimed to combat the perceived problems of white slavery, which was a moral panic about forced prostitution and human trafficking. Okay, I can see why they was talking about the Mann Act. I
Wow.
mean,
Right.
I don't think that he was moving white slaves.
Now he's moving colored slaves. Colored.
It depends on your definition of slavery.
That's
I
true.
would say maybe indentured servants.
All I can say, yeah, they were indentured to his service. And that's what they were doing. Well, like they said, utilized his power and pushing these people in situations where they either do it or their life is going to be kind of be shattered. So they got into one of them situations where if you don't do this, on the other side, we're gonna sell you with the bridge.
Wow. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching the case.
Right.
I don't know that that's exactly how that went. I can see how it could be perceived that way,
Mm-hmm.
but to be quite frank, I
Mm-hmm.
can see where people could look at it in another direction and be like, well, these young ladies saw something they wanted, they went after it like any other woman does. I'll give you
True.
an example. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. You're right on that part. That
Like, yo, for real, go ahead, you first.
these women, they have something that they held in their heart to achieve. And if this is the only road they see, are they stupid or they naive from taking chance? They taking a chance. Whether it works or doesn't, you're taking a chance. Now, if you don't take a chance, you just sit there on the road and just don't say anything. You might be upset at yourself. So sometimes you have to take a chance. Just like me when I got into this industry, I had to take a chance. I had to strongly believe in myself and really take a chance. If I didn't, case in point, my old partner, he walked out the group. We had got 2 contracts before that, and he never said, "Let's do it." I had to take the liberty to myself. I said, "We had 2 contracts. One from what was that? Warlock Records. And then there was another contract, and this was the third one." I said, "You know what? If I don't take this, I might blow it. 3 strike, you're out." So this is the third one. So I said, "I'm going." And I found out that he went to Daddy on them to try to get a deal later, but he didn't sign it. So that means he had a mind state of, I got a little money, I'm all right, I'm being right. I'm gonna do this. And it never happened. So on that side, I wish I didn't walk down the road that I did as far as the people that was around me. They wasn't about winning the championship. I wanted to win the chip. They just said, he's a great player. We're gonna ride him till the wheels fall off. That was it. But I'm not mad.
Well, all right, so let's talk about this Rule 29, which
Mm-hmm.
claims prosecution didn't prove that Rule 29 is prosecution didn't prove the case
Right?
and this can be utilized after the case is over,
Mm-hmm.
after prosecution and defense
Right.
rest their case,
Mm-hmm.
or and it can be used or and it can be used after the jury convicts. So they invoked Rule 29 after the case was settled before they went into final testimonies, not testimonies. I want to
Mm-hmm.
get these words right. The law is not my thing, but I've been studying it this week. Woo! Last
The
7 weeks.
arbitration.
It's not arbitration. It's the when they're presenting their case at the end, their final their
Yeah.
final
Yeah. Your closing argument.
closing. Thank you. Those are the words. So before closing arguments, they tried to claim Rule 29,
Mm-hmm.
which is like defense saying, man, yo, they on some nonsense, bruh. They don't got enough evidence to even be here right now to the judge. It's legal jargon for that. It's defense saying that there's not enough evidence that this should be presented in front of a jury, Rule 29.
Mm-hmm.
And the judge was like, yeah. Like, nah, son. Like, the judge denied Rule 29. But the speculation is that it was presented now because you need to present it after closing arguments in order to be able to present it after the judge's ruling or after the jury's decision.
Right.
So the thinking is they presented Rule 29. They wasn't serious. They were safe. They were doing it then so that they can have a leg to stand on if they lose in trial
Mm-hmm.
by jury verdict. What do you think about that? You're an artist. You sitting there. You looking. What do you think about that? Do you think that what do you think his chances are with the jury right now?
I think he's in a it's 50-50. It's a 50-50 because you're real think about this. say Diddy wins the trial, you know when he gets out, a suit's gonna come down from him to the courts. So they gotta they gotta make sure they got the right bullets in the gun because he's going to definitely come. Remember, he spent a lot of money for these courts. So if he feels that they let him go, he's coming in with the dogs. He's going to release the hounds. That's
Well,
what he's
that's
going to
something
do.
that prosecute. That's something that his defense mentioned. The
Mm-hmm.
amount of money being spent.
Mm-hmm.
$20 million to prosecute Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
That's an astounding amount. And here's why. What did they get for $20 million? As his defense put it, they raided his house. They got Astroglide and some baby oil. The streets are safer now. That's a quote. I thought that was amusing. Astroglide. Not the fact that they found guns with the numbers stripped off. They didn't mention that. But they
Mm-hmm.
did mention that they found Astroglide and baby oil. The streets are safer now. And it makes sense because they did find a copious amount of baby oil.
And and one more thing they found: pink powder.
Well, okay, so we'll get into the drugs because we do have to get into that. But first, all right, so needed for trafficking because that's what they're really trying to get him on.
Mm-hmm.
That's the So first I need to explain what RICO is. I did it before and I'm gonna do it now. This is very important. RICO is racketeering, influence, corrupt organization. So what does that mean in English? All right, everybody knows what influence is. Everybody knows what corrupt is. Organization, enterprise, business. So an influence, corrupt business, right?
Right.
Racketeering. So then the question is, so what is racketeering? Why is that important? What does racketeering mean? And I read it off of Google AI.
Yes.
We'll use Google AI for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Racketeering is a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business deals. I'm gonna say that again because this is the important thing that I think the jury is going to have to really understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, the judge's orders is going to make or break this case. Racketeering is a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business. So basically, racketeering has to make money,
Right.
right? So during all of this, I would like to, when we're done, ask, is this a racketeering, influence, corrupt organization? So in order to claim trafficking, you need to coerce somebody into, I'm sorry, you need to get someone to commit an act using either a SMEX act for SMEX trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
using either force, fraud, coercion, or threats. Again, force, fraud, coercion, or threats. So during this, right? That's what we're gonna be looking for. Did he force, trick, force by mental manipulation, or threaten somebody to do these things?
Right. Well, remember, he was putting pressure on that producer. What's her name? Rodney.
She wasn't brought up in the trial.
Oh, so well.
Word. If you had her your finger covering the camera. If you brought her
Mm-hmm.
up in the trial, then maybe you'd have something, but you ain't bring her up in the trial. I got
Mm-hmm.
a tea bag thing got caught in my mouth. You ain't bring her up, so you
And
can't use her.
then you got the other guy, the one that has the glasses, and he was supposed to be producing with him.
You covering the camera again.
The guy that was wearing the glasses that was supposed to be producing for Diddy.
Wasn't brought up in the trial.
So
He's like Keefe D and
mhm.
Natanya Rubin. They ghost. Nobody brought him up.
So basically, it's Ghost right here.
So we're going. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get him for sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Sex trafficking. I didn't say these.
That's all
So
right.
what just happened? So I'm paying attention to these analytics. Something's going on here. So let's talk about it, right? Defense called no witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
The prosecution prosecuted this man for 6 weeks and a day.
Right, right, right.
And then they rested their case. Prosecution signed defense. They were
Mm-hmm.
done in like 30 minutes. 30 minutes, they was like, all right, that's it. They ain't call no witnesses. They ain't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think that they did that? What's your opinion on that?
They're fishing for facts that they can make stick. So they're throwing out all kinds of insights and whereabouts or thoughts, and hopefully one of them will stick. That's the best way. If I keep throwing out things at a person, if I was going locked up, they're gonna accuse me of many things, and 9 out of 10 they could be garbage. But the ones that's gonna stick is the ones that is going to be one they're gonna um put their trial around. He right now he's just sitting in his cocoon and thinking about, yeah, I'm gonna be out of here. He might not be out of here because they have to um hold down their fort some kind of way, because if he walks out there and they give nothing to him, he's gonna come back and sue him. I know he's gonna do that. He's
I mean, what did they got? They didn't call no witnesses, but like, all right, they keep comparing him to R. Kelly, right?
mm-hmm,
There's a difference between him and R. Kelly. Yes, he was giving Cassie golden showers. He was
mm-hmm,
peeing on her. During the R. Kelly thing, the golden shower thing became very well known.
mm-hmm.
But the difference is them girls were babies. They were 13, 14, 15 years old. These are grown women making grown woman decisions.
Right, right, right.
Texting them that they were excited for the next time. Me personally, I'm disgusted.
Mm,
But I'm not judging what somebody else do behind closed doors.
mm-hmm.
That's their own private business. So all of the girls were of age and consenting.
Right.
A couple of times they were like, "Yo, we didn't really want to do it." He said that. Then he came back for more.
Yeah.
Like, let's suppose I'm dating a girl, right? And she's like, "You want to help me with my rent, daddy?" The chances of me helping with her rent go up by mountains of folds of percentages if I'm happy. This is not something that is not understood. Women understand this, men understand this. What it is, like, I'm not trying to pay for it, but she keep me happy. I want to keep her happy and good, and
Yeah.
that's what it is.
It's a give and take. It's a give and
So
take.
they talking about giving him a Rico for it. What?
Well,
They talking about giving him a Rico because he's taking care of his girl. Man, they got to do better than that.
and I know the lawyers are looking at the case like this is a real lame. It's lame. What they said they had when they first started, when they first arrested the house, when they confiscated all this stuff, it's coming out to be nothing except hogwash. So they have to
What?
come with something that's going to stick. It's got to stick, or that what my man said. If the glove don't fit, you must acquit. So right now,
So,
hmm,
go ahead, go ahead. I got a question. I heard this asked by somebody, and I think this is going to be the end of the video when I ask this. Is gold digging prostitution?
is what?
Is gold digging prostitution?
No, I mean it's
Well,
in our
then that's the end of it. He's innocent.
In our words, in our lot in life, no. If we want to be
I
grimy,
mean, legally,
we know it's
yeah. I
basically
mean,
really
legally,
base and our it's basically the same, but we're gonna give it a benefit of the doubt. Now she's not gold digging. She's not nah. She's just working with the things that mama gave her. That's it. Shake what
or
your mama
shake what
gave
your mama
you.
gave you.
That's right. That's right.
Ah, yeah, it's real. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look into some more of the facts in the case.
Mm-hmm.
Puffy followed Cassie on a plane to threaten her with the release of the freak off videos
Mm-hmm.
if she didn't agree to comply. Now that would be coercion
Yeah, that's cohesion.
and threatening.
That is. That
So
mm-mm.
defense is saying, I mean, he was upset, he was mad,
Mm-hmm.
he was saying these things, but he would have never done it. That's a hard argument, right? Like whether he would have done it or not, he made the threat. But I don't think he would have done it. You want to know why?
Mm-hmm.
Because he
Why?
would have done it. He would have done it.
Because that's Diddy.
Yeah,
Diddy do it.
so they broke up. She moved on. She married somebody else. Them tapes
Mm-hmm.
never got released.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't intend on releasing them.
Right. If she was going to do it, she'd have did it right after she put the suit down. Because she was
But if he
still,
was going to release them, he'd have released them.
yeah, she would have been still angry. She got over it. You gave me the money. See ya. That was
So
that.
he never intended to release these tapes. That, not in case, maybe if,
Mm-hmm.
he's in the situation he's now to try and get out of jail. I don't think he was just a freak. He wanted to record him. He's a freak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Matter of fact, defense called him private porn.
Yeah.
He's making his own private porn.
Yes. Yes, he was. He said,
I
I know the stars that are underground. We're gonna connect our own little tribe. And we're gonna get live. And if
Did he do anything that was wrong? Maybe, but he didn't. I mean, I think that most people have shot something on their phone to themselves. You know what I mean? Like, is what it is. So defense is saying that he didn't do it. I mean, he did it, but it's like, and your thoughts on that?
I'm looking at it like if you had the opportunity and the finances to live out some of your wildest dreams, you're not gonna say, nah. You're gonna try. You're gonna do it. You're gonna try your best to bring your dream to fruition. So he did the same thing. He may have went off the border, but he still did the same thing.
He definitely went very, very wild.
Yeah, he jumped out. He jumped out the plane without a parachute. He burnt his
Hold
ass.
on a moment. Maybe I got something in the comments. Let me see. I mean, that would have actually opened up to an undeniable crime in some states. Revenge porn is a crime. That's actually accurate.
Mm-hmm.
The release of the porn without the consent of the other parties would have made that illegal, and threatening that might have something, but I don't know. Well, threatening is where threatening is part of a predicate. Okay, so I didn't explain this. So let's explain how Rico comes into. I don't know if I explained. Did I explain Rico yet? I explained racketeering. I read racketeering. So the way that you have to prove a RICO is you
Mm-hmm.
have to have two predicate crimes within a 10-year span. What does that mean? What the heck is a predicate crime? You have to have two underlying crimes, like
Right.
let's say sex trafficking and I don't know arson within
Mm-hmm.
a 10-year span, two of them, and then that can elevate it to the level of RICO. Without, if there's only one, there's no RICO. So that can possibly be utilized as a RICO charge or to establish a RICO. The
Right.
fact that he did threaten her.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
then there's the rest of the stories.
so what would you say? Guns and bringing women from other states to your place.
Trafficking.
Yes, that would be Rico. You think those two together? Because you said you need more than one, so those are two things. So
Right.
I don't know how he's going to get out.
Well, I'll tell you how he's going to get out. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody sitting on the jury is going to be like, yo, so y'all are convicting him because he brought some prostitutes across state lines. Y'all going to send him away for the rest of his life? I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting him away for the rest of his life because he bought a prostitute from. I'm not doing that.
Right.
These are willing adults. They're not children. And then, and then, let's dig into this. Let's get into this. So he didn't go on the streets to find prostitutes and bring them across state lines.
Right.
He worked with companies that provided services such as escorts,
Mm-hmm.
and they got paid whether they committed SMEC acts or not. He
Right.
paid for the time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you phrase it like that, as defense did in their closing arguments,
Mm-hmm.
he did not actually traffic people. If anything, he paid the agency, and the agency trafficked them.
Right.
They didn't put it like that in defense, but that would be what happened. Like, he didn't actually do that. So
They can't.
it is what it is.
They can't like connect him with the crime because he didn't put his hands on anything. That's one thing. That's one way he can get out because he didn't put his hands on anything.
So they're
Whatever.
getting him for being a boss, and that's what they're saying. They're like, bro, you didn't do anything. You was the general. You had your troops moving. You ain't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So prosecution dropped 3 theories.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I said, predicate crimes are charges. You need 2 predicate crimes in a 10-year period in order to establish a RICO charge.
Right.
Now, when prosecution are starting to drop crimes, they're like, well, they were theories. So you're dropping charges and then don't even want to admit that they're charges. Maybe because the charges are so weak, they can't stick. That's what happened. And the 3 that they dropped was they kept arson,
Mm-hmm.
even though his DNA was not there and he can't prove he was at the scene of the crime. They kept arson based on a testimony that someone was kidnapped and drugged there and she watched him do it, which was disproven. But they kept arson, but they dropped attempted arson. They kept trafficking, but they dropped aiding and abetting for trafficking. Because what is aiding and abetting? They said they didn't want to confuse the jury. So they dropped aiding and abetting for trafficking and only kept trafficking. And they dropped conspiracy to commit kidnapping and kept kidnapping.
Mm.
They did that, yes. Yeah.
That's when they jump in that straw. They throwing everything in the air, and hopefully something will hit the wall and stick.
But when you have to drop charges like attempted arson and aiding and abetting for trafficking, when you're dropping these major charges, and you're like, oh, what they did were just theories. Your back is against the wall. You can't win with those charges. If you thought you could win with them, you wouldn't have dropped them.
Right. So basically, you're saying that my bad, we messed up.
Word, like, so now y'all are dropping charges, trying to stick whatever you can. And let's talk about the charges they got left that we just said. Arson.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way the defense put it. The defense was like, all right, so your story is he went and kidnapped you because his girlfriend was messing with somebody else. And so he took you over there at gunpoint to go see this dude.
Wow. Wow.
So if he's so angry that he's going to see this dude about messing with his chick, why is he hitting you? Why is he bringing you into this? Where does that make sense?
Well,
And then you went back to work the next day? That's your story, right?
Maybe they felt like OJ. When he had to go get his boy to take care of the business.
Her story didn't make any sense. So that was the kidnapping and the arson. Well, no, the arson, the car blown up. But the only person was only a female's DNA at the scene of the crime. You know what defense said?
Right.
Maybe it was Cassie.
Mm,
Prove them wrong. Like, listen, like, here's the real deal, right?
mm-hmm,
Even after Diddy and Cassie broke up and
mm-hmm,
she started dating the man she would eventually marry,
mm-hmm.
she was still sleeping with Diddy. This is a man she was terrified of and hated so much. She was still sleeping with him. That's right there was the end of it for me. When she's text messaging him and she's still and all lovey dovey and she's still sleeping with him.
Well,
What?
all I can say is that
Look on your face right there. You're like, yo,
you
that's
know,
crazy, right?
yeah, she still wanted the nookie, man. She still wanted the nookie. He wanted
She
him to.
dating the man she about. Even after she married, she's still sending love messages to this dude.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
Even after she was married, she's still sending these love messages.
that means she still wanted the long darling. She wanted.
So, my point here, this Cassie's testimony. That's what you're going with.
Mm,
It's Cassie's testimony. This is where we're at with it.
mm-hmm.
That's
We
the
got,
strongest you got. Is the girl that's sleeping with him after they broke up. That's the strength of your. This is the backbone of your testimony.
mm-hmm. We got to do something. We don't make
You dropped all. Go.
we don't want to make ourselves look like fools in a court of law because it'll mess our practice up. So we have to find a way to get this guy. When it first started, we thought we was all gun ho. We had everything locked. Everything was locked. Now the doors are just opening up and opening up to the point that the last one he's gonna walk out, and then they're gonna call y'all liable for whatever y'all said out your mouth. So y'all have to figure a way how to lock them in some kind of way.
Even Cassie's own message was domestic violence was the issue. So basically, she's saying it wasn't no trafficking and none of that. And the prosecution's like, well, what does she know about law? But she didn't. She didn't feel like she was trying. She enjoyed it. She was sending text messages how she wanted to do it again. How excited she was about it. Listen. Diddy's girlfriends are ridiculous animals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how beautiful they might be. Once I get to know that they've done the things that they've done, I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. They're disgusting to me. The things that they do are nasty. And I'm not victim shaming, but the first time you did it, you wanted more. So it wasn't that he coerced you to do it. You loved it. You can't
Yep.
look at Jane Doe. What Jane Doe do? Jane Doe like, I'm mad at Diddy, so now I'm gonna do it without him. Not, I'm leaving him. I'm gonna still do it, but I'm just gonna do it with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say this. I was listening to this pimp. He was talking about matter of fact, no. It was one of them sex workers. The Punisher. He stated, he said, what he found out is that women, they don't think no different from men. They exactly same way. So
But they're smarter than we are.
yeah,
They are. Women are smarter than men are. If you're offended by that, I had to accept it. You do too.
yeah, they try to keep
Because
it.
they can manipulate. They got this. We want each other, but they're able to manipulate us with it. Who's smarter?
They
We want the same thing, but they can manipulate us with it. That makes them way smarter.
how can you manipulate me with something that you want just like me? The way they do it, they'll act like they don't. To the point that we start
Chasing.
thinking, and then and see that's the key, guys. I'm gonna tell you something, and I want to say this to all the fellas out there. You know what mess guys up with women? We chase them. We're not supposed to chase them. That's like the sun chasing the earth. The sun chase the earth. It's gonna. What's gonna happen? It's gonna burn out, and both of us gonna get cold. And that's why this world is cold. Because men are chasing women. You're not supposed to chase them. As bad as you want them, don't chase them. Because bottom line, they want you just more than you think. You think
Absolutely,
they don't.
without question.
They do. They be like, damn, I want him. You know, but we can't help it because we get thirsty. We jump out the window and we bump our head on the ground. Now we bleeding. And we gotta sit there and play sucker. So we have to, we have to learn that stay still. Everything's gonna come right. But a lot of us can't, we have no patience. And that's where they blow.
Yeah, like yo, so the girls working for Diddy seem to make a lot less than the men. The men made about 100,000. The girls made 30, 40,000. He
Mm-hmm.
did not pay the women the same. Well, except for KK.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what KK had on that man, but when he had problems with his girlfriends, he came to her for advice. Prosecution's trying to twist it up. Oh, she was part of some sort of ringleader organization.
Mm-hmm.
That was his homegirl. Like, yo, my girl's not talking to me. What do I do? Yo, say this to her. That's his people's.
Mm-hmm.
She was making 600,000. She's the only one that was making that kind of money. He was taking care of her. That was his people. Was he
Mm-hmm.
smashing? Probably. Hard to believe he wasn't. I don't know what she looked like.
That's why
But
that's why I don't have no pictures.
I don't know what KK looked like. I never looked. I didn't
Me
really
neither.
look.
And
So
they go back to when him growing up with her.
he grew up with her?
I was asking you, did he grow up with her?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I do know that they're talking about she's part of the criminal organization and she's the one that they're naming as a co-conspirator. Because otherwise, you can't just charge a RICO. Can't be one person. It has to be multiple people. So
Right.
they're making her part of the whole thing. Your fingers on the camera again, co-conspirator.
Hmm.
So something that's very important that did come up was there's something called mens rea. It's not English. I don't know what language it is. It's Latin. I just realized it. I just Latin. Well, mens rea. You must have a guilty mind. What
Right.
does that mean? A guilty mind. What the heck is that? What? Guilty mind. You must be committed to perpetrating a crime. You must be doing it with guilt, guilty intentions.
Mm-hmm.
You must be putting forth purposely a conscious act of committing something that will make you guilty.
Right.
Mens rea. Mens rea.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be aware that you're committing a crime in English. You got to know you're doing it for RICO. This is
Right.
something the judge said.
That means they have all kinds of stipulations to try to lock a person up.
Well,
All
actually,
kinds
that's
of.
to get him off. Like, yo, he committed a crime, but he wasn't trying to commit a crime. He was trying to get some booty. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, he wasn't trying to break all types of laws. Like, the man has a drug problem. And
Mm-hmm.
he was doing what problems, hold on, intent versus crime of passion.
Right.
Exactly. So in the comments, there's intent versus crime of passion. And let's delve a little into that before I keep going. Intent means you mean to do something. Your mind is intent on doing something. Your goal is a certain action to get a certain result. Intent.
Right.
While crime of passion is like, you lost your mind, you did something, you're like, oh my God, what did I do? I can't believe I did it. You did something because you were in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Intent versus crime of passion. So I just saw that in the comments and thought I would address it. Where was I before I jumped ship? Oh, the Weller case.
Mm-hmm.
I finished mens rea. The Weller case exemption is about the drug thing. Now you were saying something about the drugs he had. Let's go over them drugs again. Adderall. which is used for people with a particular mental disorder. I believe it's ADHD. ADHD, when you use Adderall, is supposed to slow you down. But if you don't have the particular chemical imbalance that causes ADHD, what Adderall does is has the opposite effect, and it actually increases you. So it becomes like an upper, like a stimulant. So if you have ADHD, it works as a depressant. It slows you down, it calms you down, it helps you to focus. If you do not have that particular chemical imbalance that causes ADHD, it has an adverse effect. It works differently, it works backwards. It makes you jittery, it makes it hard to concentrate, it makes you unfocused. So Adderall, they had ketamine. People know it as the horse tranquilizer, but here's a different version for you for anybody who didn't catch up on that short. So ketamine, all right. So back in the day, PCP was given to people that were going through tremendous amounts of pain. I don't mean like a broken arm. I mean like they lost a limb. Like, oh, I lost my leg, PCP. We're going to calm you down. We're going to dull it. We're going to level you out with PCP. They no longer make PCP legally. If you got PCP, you got it from the streets. Somebody's in a lab and back of their house making it. The government doesn't make it. It's not made legally in this country. Instead, what they give people that's going through that type of pain in a hospital is ketamine. So that's Adderall and ketamine. They had weed, they had alcohol, they had the
Pink
sex,
stuff.
drugs. What's up?
They had the pink stuff too.
Oh, we're gonna get to that last. I don't remember what that is. So I want to address that. They had they had the penis pills. The they had marijuana. They had a lot of Mary J. They had alcohol. They had I'm missing one. Mushrooms, and they had pink cocaine. Pink cocaine is not natural. You cannot cocaine is made from the cocaine leaf, right? It's found in nature. It's processed, but it's found in nature. Pink cocaine is not found in nature. I don't. Let's look up. I'm going back again to
The cocoa leaf.
what the heck? 2C is a recreational drug that contains a mixture of different psychoactive substances, most commonly found in a pink dyed powder known as pink cocaine. Contains a mixture of different psychoactive substances. Jesus.
That means you twisted. You gonna be twisted.
Adderall, ketamine, pink cocaine, mushrooms. Like, yo, you go to a Diddy party, you ain't walking out the same.
And remember they had the alcohol too now.
Oh, yeah, and they were drinking.
That's to wash it all down. Yeah. Yeah. Wash it all down.
What up is down is this was gonna take you left. This one you don't know if you're right.
Yeah.
Yo, they had everything. You can imagine it. You can get it at a Diddy party.
That's right.
So that what they wanted to do was get him with a conspiracy. They wanted to get him with a conspiracy for distribution. He had all these drugs, and they were like, "Yo, you was giving them to the people, distribution," and they're trying to nail him with a distribution. Let me ask you a question, man. Have you ever smoked weed?
Talk to my lawyer. No. Yeah, I did.
Did you ever pass it to your man?
I don't want to say it because I don't want to incriminate myself. Yeah, I did.
So under the same law that they're trying to get him right now, you're distributing. Because they said that he's distributing because he passed it for other people to use. That's what they're saying.
They didn't realize I was passing to him so he have a good time with me.
Like, what? Yo, this, like, yo, he's getting high with his people. Now, I do not condone a drug lifestyle. I myself don't even drink, smoke cigarettes, nothing. I don't condone the lifestyle. But let's be real for just a moment.
That's right.
If you happen to drink, do you want to drink by yourself, or are you going to put a glass on the table and pour shots to your peoples too? Like, if you're drinking by yourself in the house, and I am an alcoholic, that's why I don't drink. So if you're drinking by yourself in the house, you need help.
Yeah.
A shot or two, all right. but you really drinking too much. You out with your friends, y'all are having a drink, you're having a good time. It's a social drinking thing, and then you're socially drinking. I would say it's probably, to somebody who does these type of hardcore drugs, it's probably the same thing. I'm having this drink, I'm having these drum partying. That's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Partying. And partying. Now, it's not my particular type of party. I've never done anything more than marijuana myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. So, but that's what it is for them. You're going to get him for distribution for that? He's selling, he ain't making no money off it. You sound wow. There's another thing in the comment. Let me check it out. The drugs themselves were illegal and may have a case. Alcohol and Mary J. in many states are at least legal. Mary J. wasn't legal at the time that we're discussing about. Mary J. only became legal within the last 5 years. We're talking about in the 90s, 2000s. Nobody in my age bracket smoking weed still. We don't. Most of us aren't doing that. Some of us might be, but a lot of us are too old for that. That's a kid's game. But so they're trying to get him for distribution
Mm-hmm.
because he's passed the drugs around the room. The Weller case exemption with conspiracy to sell drugs stipulates buyer must purchase enough drugs to sell. So if he was buying for personal use and he wasn't selling it, even if he was sharing with his friends, under the Weller case, distribution, and this is not a court order, this was done in a smaller court in order for it to stick and really become something that the lower courts follow, has to be done in a higher court and passed down. When other courts at the same level, let's say the district level, make a ruling or when a court does it, it's not really a ruling. They're making what they call it's a it's not coming to me, but it's not a ruling. It is a ruling, but they're making a decision based on what they think is the case under the law that is written. It's not actually. It can be overturned. It can be. It can be. You can appeal it. It can be appealed. It can be overturned by a higher court after the appeal if the appeal doesn't go through. But they're looking at it and saying, "This is what we believe to be based on what we're reading and what we're seeing and everything. This is our judgment on it." So when you have that type of a judgment, courts of the same level or lower, district or what have you, circuit, they can look and they can use those as references, guides on how to look at the case that they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not a Supreme Court ruling,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not something that they have to follow. But generally, those guidelines, they kind of go with the like, yo, my people's is doing that, we doing that too. So if other courts of the same level or lower have made a ruling, they use it for guidance. And in the Weller case, exemption with conspiracy to sell drugs, the buyer must purchase enough drugs to sell.
Well,
So with that being said, what's up?
he definitely bought a lot to sell, but he just gave it away. Remember all the people
Well, I mean,
that.
if he was feeding a party full of 50 people, yeah, there was enough to sell.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
enough.
was going to go there,
Mm-hmm.
but then it comes back down to intent. So they're trying to get him, but they're doing it using like the laws they're using. Are they moving kind of funny with it?
Mm-hmm.
Would you convict him on that? You're on the jury, and they're like, well, he did buy enough to sell, and no, he wasn't distributing, even though he did give it to his friends. It's kind of distribution. He distributed to his friends. Now he didn't make no money doing it. What would you do with that? Are you gonna give him life in prison for it?
No, I tell him, make sure you give the number to your dealer, and we can make some transactions happen.
I'm done, man. Don't say that on my channel. You crazy. Yeah. He's clean as I am. For those of y'all who don't know, I have my phone sitting here and didn't realize it. He's clean as I am. Anyway, Jane's. Let me get into this a little bit. All right. So Jane, the DOE claims she
Mm-hmm.
threw up during a freak off. Jane Doe threw up during the freak off, and had to go and do the freak off. I'm sorry, for her it was king nights or hotel nights. I got so lost. I think it was hotel nights with her. She no, well, her was king night. I don't know. She threw up during a king night and had to go back and perform anyway, and wanted to be with Diddy afterwards. I don't know. The same girl that was doing it without him. She was so disgusted by it, she couldn't bear to do it, so she threw up. But then she was doing it when he wasn't there too, because she loved it so much.
Uh, I think they were blinded by the desire to live a certain standard. So for them to do certain things they did, it was because behind door number one is a great lifestyle. Door number two, I can't even say it. We have to be nice. But there was always stipulations for these women to live, and they always like they want them like sex. So some of them like free. I don't got no to. I don't want to mess with Big Earl. Big Earl, all he does is come through and pound me out. So I'm going to go in there and I'm gonna come out with something. You know, they
Frizzy
might.
J says she would convict.
Mm, all I can say is it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I feel bad for the women that are taking it wrong because some women are taking it wrong, like throw them away, throw the key away. No doggone well. If they had the opportunity to be in that same predicament, they probably take a leap of faith themselves. But as far as the walk away, I doubt it. Unless you, unless you are a homely, no good girl that nobody ever liked. So you're gonna say, I don't want none of y'all doing. But most of the time, if you're a woman that has some kind of validity to yourself, you'll say, if I had a chance, I could see myself doing that. Always keep your eye open. Don't walk in with your blind like, no, 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 because a lot of guys would have did it. It was. I'm saying if that was a girl, and the girl was gonna give him finances. Hold on, like my phone. Hold on.
Well, and that's the case. So it and that's what they're trying to get him for, distribution.
Um, well, you better learn for the next time. Man. Next time, like we taught R. Kelly. Next time, I don't think they're gonna let you out, Mr. Combs. So you better pack yourself up and move to some other country because these people they got a hard on for you, man. Because you're trying to come through and interrupt their way of life. Because that what they say, Hugh Hefner did it. They didn't lock him up. The guy that does Hustler, they didn't lock him up. So you got to realize they playing a different game, and you have to be smart enough to understand that. Not because you got a lot of money. So what? Like I said the other day, they can wake up tomorrow and put out new money and have Snoopy on it. You're stuck with the old money, and there's nothing you can do because they run that. They run this music. I mean, the money and the finances and all that. So you need to calm down, relax, and be patient. It may not happen overnight, but you, if you notice, things have been changing since we was kids to now. Because I remember, I never seen as many so-called black people on commercials like they do now. I never seen as many. I'm, I'm serious. I have never seen it. It's amazing when I watch. It's so many people. It look like they let all the slaves go on the ships and they on TV now. So you have to look at it. That things are changing, not at the speed that you like, but it's changing. Evolution. I can see it.
He beat up Jane Doe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't beat her up. So it's almost like it's almost, maybe almost like Diddy was set up by Jane Doe. Shortly after, there was the lawsuit with Cassie.
Right.
She came to him
Mm-hmm.
and she physically accosted him, as Cassie herself did to him many times. In drug-fueled relationships, many times these things turn violent.
Mm-hmm.
Puffy he's been framed as a monster, but these girls have all testified that many times they have attacked him first.
I
It
believe
sounds like
that.
a drug-filled relationship to me.
I believe that because I've been in situations and girls have accosted me.
Yeah, I 100% believe it. It's 100% true. Many times these girls have attacked him first.
Right.
And this particular night, after the Cassie lawsuit was done,
Mm-hmm.
Jane Doe showed up at his crib. They sat around, they was drinking, and then she attacked him. And then he went storming through, and then she ran, and she went chasing after and kicked her door in.
Mm. Yeah, that
But he
sounds
didn't
like.
hit her. But he didn't hit her. So listen to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is Jane Doe's testimony. This isn't speculation. This is Jane Doe's testimony.
All right.
After Cassie's lawsuit, she came and attacked him and then ran away. What'd that sound like?
Sound like a girl that's angry and she don't want the smoke, so she came through and act like she want to hurt him, and she ran away.
Sound like to me? She said, I
Mm-hmm.
want some of that money too.
Yeah.
You beat her and she got paid. Yo, I'm gonna try and get some of that too. That's what it sounded like to me.
Just don't hurt
That's
me.
how defense presented it. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely a target for people to come through and try to get an extra bag. I can see that because you gave out one already. So why can't you do it to her? That's how she said. Why can't I get one?
Word. So, word, she got 20 million. Pow! She hit him and ran. He came and
Mm-hmm.
kicked her door in. Now she got a story. Of course she's trying to get some bag too. She wants some bag. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the bombing on the car goes, however, this one here
Mm-hmm.
is now, if we're gonna call it down the middle, and this is a think tank, so we have to look at all the facts. Puffy was recorded saying he wanted to bomb Kid Cudi's car.
Mm-hmm.
So the question then becomes, did he act on those desires? He said he wanted to do it, it was recorded, and then his car was bombed.
That sounds like he might have had a fledgling that overheard the conversation, said, "I'm gonna do it." Maybe that's what happened. Because
You
like
don't know
you
what
said,
happened. You can't prove it. That's right.
right? We have nothing to say he did it, but we do have this. He has a lot of people around him that will do it for him.
And only a female's DNA was found at the scene of the crime. So a female did it.
That means
Defensive was either Cassie or his other ex-girlfriend, not Mia. I don't know. They said it
Misha,
Capricorn Clark. They said it was probably Cassie or Capricorn Clark.
and the other one's Misha.
All
I don't
right,
know.
so
He got a lot, so
uh,
we don't know.
so I mean, after the raids and all that money spent,
Mm-hmm.
they got those guns. They didn't really try and press charges for having weapons. That's
Right.
not one of the charges.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the serial numbers are scraped off, and that's a felony. Being that they didn't bring those charges up, those guns,
Mm-hmm.
the Astroglide and the baby oil is all they got.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, did you see those raids?
Yes,
Did you
I
see the
did.
raids?
Yes, I did.
I mean,
Early.
it was horrible.
It was early in the morning.
It definitely was early in the morning. He did not expect that to come.
No. And it was not just at one of his houses.
No, they hit California and Florida simultaneously in a group effort. They were
Yeah.
meaning to They were meaning to do that man something dirty, something fierce,
Yeah.
something bad.
Yeah.
If in case you have not seen
Mm-hmm.
any of these raids,
Mm-hmm.
it looked like this. We'll watch one right quick.
It looked like a group hug.
I don't know about no hug that looked like this. Oh, we're supposed to watch it. It didn't show the video. Look at them lined up in this hole. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it looks
Like,
like the Marines came in. I
yeah.
wouldn't want that smoke. Look
Yeah.
outside his house what this look like.
They treated him like he was El Chapo.
Look at Homeland Security. Look at
Mm-hmm.
they came at, they found baby oil and Astroglide. Now here's one that comes to me, right? I got a question. Don't have to answer it. Please don't answer it. Please don't answer it. But I have a question. Why did they need Astroglide and baby oil?
Yo, I'm gonna have to leave for a little while and I'll call you back.
Oh, you about to leave?
Yeah, I got really important, okay? I don't want to do it, but I have to call you back. I'll call you back.
Maybe we'll still be on. I'm gonna go over some of these other charges and stuff like that. Thanks for coming in and lending your expertise
Hey, I wish I could stay,
as an industry insider.
but I'm gonna tell you that like this. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Cochran said that. People take the heed of what Cochran said, and you'll be all right. And say this at the end. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. And you'll be all right. So thank you for having me on your show, and I'll speak to you a little later.
It's a pleasure, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us as a mogul in the industry of hip hop. It's an honor to have you on my show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Speak to
All
you
right, have
later.
a good one.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you all about some of the other things that happened in this investigation before we go. Let's go through this. Let's get into it. So, prosecution made some claims. They claimed that Cassie was a gangster with a burner phone, and she was sleeping with Combs after they separated and while she was still dating her current husband. So she breaks up with this dude, like, yo, he's a rapist, he's done this, he's done that. But she's still giving him text messages, lovey text messages after they got married. They're still sleeping together. This is not somebody who I'd be like, yo, she was treated very badly. If she felt like she was treated that badly, I don't think she would have still been sleeping with him. What it sounds like to me is a bitter ex-girlfriend. That's how I feel about it. I'm sorry that that's how I feel, but she comes off as a bitter ex-girlfriend. And bitter exes will say some stuff. Prosecution has made some claims. No, that's just still defense. Capricorn Clark kept going back to Diddy for work, even though she got other job offers. Actually, she started other jobs. She was working, making money. She said her reason for going back to Diddy was, I wanted to work in the music industry. But she also said she was working 120-hour work weeks and only getting $35,000 a year, and he owed her a lot of money. All of this is what she's getting from being abused. I'm not saying that she wasn't after more money and all of that, and maybe he did her wrong. I don't know the case there, but she kept going back. So obviously, and it's not like she couldn't get a job anyplace else. So maybe she couldn't work in the music business the way she wanted. Maybe she was blacklisted. That does happen. I don't know if I'd give him a felony for that, but it does appear that he might have been blacklisted, or she might have been blacklisted, and he might have been leveraging his very surreal weight in the industry to harm her career if he didn't get what she wanted and she didn't provide. There, well, they were saying that there was no obstruction with Mia. He tried to bribe her was the case. That's what prosecution was insisting that he was doing. He was trying to bribe Mia. However, when he was making his offers to her, he did not know that there was an investigation ongoing. He didn't know there was an investigation. So how do you bribe somebody about an investigation that you don't know about? With that being said, that bribery charge is off the table. There's no obstruction of justice. This is what defense is presented today. Not my opinion, just what was presented. He didn't know. And I kind of get with that. Like, yo, how you trying to obstruct justice if you don't even know that there's a case, there's something they after you? What do you obstruct? You can't be obstructing something that you don't know. I guess you could be, but then he calls back on a 10. He wasn't trying to obstruct justice. He didn't even know about it. So I believe that they have a valid point there. I did mention that Jane Doe was doing hotel nights with the same people Diddy was working with other rappers while she was still dating Diddy. So if she was so disgusted that she threw up because she couldn't bear it, why was she doing it when he wasn't around? These stories don't add up. They don't make sense. I don't believe her. She was at a party watching people have sex and she took her breasts out for no reason. This is her testimony. And then a rapper came up and was like, yo, can we do this swinger thing? And she hooked it up. This is the woman who's so disgusted that she threw up. These stories are not making sense. They're not adding up. And this is what's going to be presented. This is what the jury has in front of them. Mia complained and said that she didn't want Diddy and that it was rape. She kept going back to work there and she kept sleeping with him and talking about how bad she felt because she was friends with Cassie. Prosecution asserted that he was raping her consistently. So the story is you're being raped and you keep going back. Now, I'm not trying to victim shame, but, no. I'm not trying to victim shame, and it might appear as if I am. And I'm not saying Diddy's innocent. He's definitely done horrible things to these girls, but these are things that they were doing to him as well. These are very, very, very toxic relationships. It was drug fueled. There was some terrible things happening, disgusting things happening. But I don't know that I'd convict him for doing some of the things that they're trafficking drugs because he was doing drugs with these people that he's having sex with. I just don't see it. Arson. They said that the arson on Kid Cudi's car could have been Cassie or Capricorn, as I mentioned earlier. And when he did go looking for Kid Cudi, he was looking to fight, not to kill him. I don't know. I mean, they said, oh, Puffy's prosecution did a rebuttal today, and they said, and then in the rebuttal, they said, Puffy's a punk. He wanted to beat on women, but he pulled guns when it came to men. There's been instances where he tried to fight dudes. That's just not true. There's a rapper that was on 50 Cent show, actor was on 50 Cent show. He was in the street acting the fool. Granted, he had 50 bodyguards around him. I don't know if he would have went down. Probably the bodyguards would have got the dude, but he didn't run behind no gun either. So it's not true. Prosecution is painting a picture that's not actually accurate. So with all of this adding up, and we got to get to the crux of this, right? So let's get into this. No police report means Puffy cannot be guilty of bribery under California law. What am I talking about here? So you remember that Cassie was assaulted into Intercontinental Hotel? The bribery charge there is he bribed the people that recorded the tape, security, to get that tape so it would not be released because he was trying not to go to jail. Now we know he did something wrong there. This is, irrefutable. You did what? You paid him? How much did not release the tapes? And you told him not to spend that money, $100,000? And you told him not to spend that money in one place you knew you was doing something wrong. But legally, according to the defense, under California law, if a police report was not submitted, it's not bribery. So under this count of bribery as well, legally it's not bribery because there was no police report submitted. I don't know how true or accurate that is. What I did notice was on the rebuttal, which is a rebuttal, so boom, after it's over, both prosecution and defense get to present their cases, right? So prosecution's like da 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 da. All this went down, and this is what you got to get from me. Then defense gets to present their closing arguments after prosecution's closing arguments, and they're like, "Nah, son, da 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 da." So, bop bop boom bip. I mean, this and that. And part of that argument was that if in California, where this assault was happened at, if there was no police report, then legally it is not bribery. So this goes back to the RICO charge, where you have to have two predicate laws broken, two underlying laws. So you got to have two laws broken that fall within the RICO Act within a 10-year span. So bribery was one of the things they're trying to get him on. And they're like, well, it wasn't bribery because legally there was no police report. Was it bribery? Yeah. Legally, no. So you can't count that. And prosecution on the rebuttals is what happens after the defense gives their closing argument. Prosecution gives they close the case. Everybody's finished presenting their witnesses, their defense, and all of that. They close the case. Prosecution then gets their closing arguments, which is basically they get to tell you, they get to sum up their case. It's a summary. And then defense gets to summarize after them. So prosecution gave their closing arguments, defense gave their closing arguments. And then prosecution gets to rebuttal the closing arguments that defense gave. To make it simple, they get to be like, nah, well, I heard what he said, but really mean this. So, or nah, some lying is this. They get to be able to present their own argument against the argument that the defense gave. So they get to be like, nah, some lying, or that ain't it. So in prosecution's rebuttal, which closed today, they added an extra half hour to respond to some of the things that occurred during defense's closing argument. So it was supposed to be 60 minutes, went to 90 minutes. So they added an extra half hour, like, nah, they said a lot. Yo, hold up, time out. We got to get into this. So they did all of that. And welcome back, Chris. So they did all of that. And in their rebuttal, they did not say this is bribery. They left that alone. So that's one of the supposedly predicate acts. I'm going to wrap this up, and then we're going to have to really get into what this RICO was and why that's important. So another thing that defense said was, why would he drag this woman? So, all right, I got to go with the story that happened during testimony. During testimony, the ex-girlfriend, only known as Jane Doe, said that, no, it was Capricorn Clark, wasn't it? It was Capricorn Clark. Said that she was drugged into her, I think it was Capricorn Clark, said she was drugged into the car. No, it wasn't her. Who was it? I can't remember who it was. She said, it might have been Capricorn Clark. I think it was Capricorn Clark. She said she was drugged into the car at gunpoint and taken to Kid Cudi's house because Diddy was going to shoot him. She said he banged on the door with the gun. She opened the door and he made her come with him so he can go and shoot Kid Cudi. Prosecution's like, hold up, so let me get this right. In their closing arguments, it's like, yo, so wait, so let me get this right. I want to make sure I got this right. So this is your story. This is the story you're going with, right? Boom. He came to get you because he was going to go get this dude and shoot him. Quick question. Why did he go get you? Why was there a gun? He's got guards with him. Why is he carrying the gun? Is that how Diddy move? All the testimony up until now, there was guns around in the house, but why would he come knocking on your door with a gun to go shoot Kid Cudi? And then you called Kid Cudi to warn him or tell him what happened, but you didn't mention a gun to him. You ain't say nothing to Kid Cudi about a gun. And then the kicker was, and you made a police report, you didn't mention a gun in the police report. So now you got to see prosecution 27 times, and on the 25th time you mention a gun? Wait a minute. No, did not happen. Defense said did not happen. Christopher, we're still doing the live. Ice Water had to depart, and I'm finishing this up. So prosecution is like, this story doesn't make sense. It did not happen. When you look at the fact that she made the police report and she told Kid Cudi and no gun was mentioned till later, she didn't mention the gun, I agree she's lying. There was no gun. It doesn't make sense. I mean, this is a channel where we like to draw logical conclusions based on facts, critical thinking skills, and in this case, we're going to use something called inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is when you look at all of the pieces and you put it together like a puzzle and you see the bigger picture. Inductive reasoning is when you look at something and you're like, yo, how did we get here? And you say, yo, in order for my knuckles to be ashy, I didn't add lotion. So you look at what the bigger picture is and you look at how it occurred. The bigger picture that she didn't, but in this case, actually, no, we're going to use deductive reasoning. She didn't tell Kid Cudi, who was the guy they were after. She didn't put it in the police report. She didn't tell prosecution the first few times she saw them. And all of a sudden, she was kidnapped at gunpoint. I'll let you draw your own conclusion. So, by the way, King Combs and Kanye West got together today to make a song. And in part, that song's lyrics say, not going to rest till Diddy free. Just something I threw out there. King Combs and Kanye made a song together. And prosecution is, defense is saying that, all right, so he recorded these sex acts, smex acts. I'm not supposed to be saying that word. He committed these things, these orgies. I don't know if I can say that word. And they're like, okay, so he made homemade porn. What is your point? And, you know, if I'm sitting on a jury and he says, what is your point? I'm like, is that a crime now? What you do in your bedroom is a crime? I don't know. They said there was no conspiracy there was no conspirator, no co-conspirator for racketeering conspiracy. Now, they presented that in defense, but that's not true. Prosecution has named KK as a co-conspirator multiple times. So there is a co-conspirator. Defense was wrong on that. They tried to push it. But however, no one else is currently being charged. They say they are going to press charges, but currently there is no co-conspirator. So that's kind of Defense also said he's not selling drugs. We went over this earlier. You can't give somebody something and be selling it to them, right? So if I give you a bottle of alcohol every time I see you, you can't get me for alcohol distribution. I gave it to you, my people. I gave it to you. So you gonna now you gonna get me for distribution because I gave it to you? Because I gave it to my man? What? Huh? No, I don't have an alcohol license. I can't sell the alcohol, but I didn't sell it. I gave it to him. So for racketeering, you have to make a profit. He's not selling drugs. He's giving them to his people that they're doing strange things with. So no, there was no selling of drugs. Defense has that right. However, Diddy is facing a judge that would not even give him a $50 million bail. So Diddy's in court like, yo, Anna, you're doing a great job. Something that is rarely seen from a defendant, especially in the SDNY, Southern District of New York. When people are facing prosecution from a judge and they're about to have a heavy sentence thrown at them, generally they're belligerent. They're not very happy with the judge. Puffy like, great job, Anna. Love your work. But the same judge didn't give him a $50 million bail. What that means to me is they're probably not going to bail him out. They're probably not. The judge is not on his side. I don't see the judge helping him. I think there's a couple of comments I want to take a look right quick. Yeah, the fact that they didn't bother with the gun charges is rather confusing. When you look at the facts, you would assume that there was an attempted murder at Natanya Harding, which she's been saying for 25, 30 years. I was looking him in the face when he shot me. I know who did it. Keefe D's in prison right now for testifying that Diddy gave him the money so that they went and killed Tupac. But they didn't bring, the testimony was good enough to lock him up, but they didn't bring him to this trial to establish character, if nothing else. They didn't bring in the guns with the scraped off serial numbers because, and that right by itself would have been a predicate underlying charge. Again, okay, so now we're going to go back into RICO. Let's get, by the way, if you're enjoying the content, If you like the way the think tank works, where we try and break things down and look at things from a critical point of view, join the critical thinking community and subscribe. If you like it, please click the like, but subscribe, join us. We have many conversations about what's going on in the world. We cover Trump very heavily. Independent media needs the help because your media is failing you. They're telling you that Diddy's guilty, and you're not getting the facts that I'm giving you right now. You're hearing things about Trump, and I don't want to get too deeply into other topics. We're going to have a live Sunday about the current events of what happened this week. But join the independent critical thinking tank that is on YouTube, for a community built for us, by us, so that we can work together to see the truth of what's going on and pass the media blast that Fox or CNN gives us, where they give us their side of the story, and try and drill into the head with the think, where we can look at the facts and come up with our own unbiased conclusions. So again, we're going to take another look at RICO now that we've gone through all of these charges. Racketeering, oh, wow. Influence, corrupt organization. So if it's influence, that means it's helping to cultivate. Corrupt means that it's unjust. Organization, enterprise, of business. So a racketeering business, RICO is a racketeering, something that causes other things to happen that are bad in a business, right? RICO. So what is racketeering? We looked it up twice. I'm going to read it one more time because this is very important to understand what's happening here. And racketeering, I looked up pink cocaine last. You got me looking up pink cocaine. Racketeering is a set of illegal activities. This is according to Google's search. Got to quote your sources. Racketeering is a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit that may be disguised as legitimate business deals. The important part is a set of illegal activities aimed at commercial profit. So let's take a look at the things that he was being accused of, right? Sex trafficking, trafficking women over state lines. He was doing it because he wanted to party, right? Same with the drugs. He wanted to party, right? There's no profit. If it's not profit, it's not racketeering. He blew up somebody's car. Maybe he did do that. Maybe he didn't. We don't have enough evidence. He certainly didn't benefit from it. Maybe he got his girlfriend back, but it wasn't a business profit. What else was he accused of? Exactly. There might have been a couple of other. There were other charges. Let's get them all. It was the trafficking. It was the arson. There was the golden showers on Cassie. Yes, because that's something he should go to jail for. Aiding and abetting, trafficking, kidnapping, which we went over. Her story changed. It went from he came to get her to he came to get her with guns. So kidnapping, where I don't think any reasonable person could convict him of kidnapping based on what we know. Witness tampering, now an obstruction of justice, and bribery. Wait, so okay, yeah, these are the charges. I might have skipped this. These are the charges. The predicate charges they're trying to utilize to establish racketeering. Sex trafficking. Wait, no, that's yeah. Obstruction of justice, witness tampering, bribery. So we already discussed that he didn't know it was obstruction of justice because he didn't know there was a case going on. The witness tampering is saying he was trying to do from jail. Now, we don't know if that's a fact. They didn't present anything to prove that during the case or in closing. So we don't know if there was witness tampering. We do know that he was making messages and doing things on social media. And bribery. There were two cases of bribery. The first one was thrown out. What was the first bribery? I want to get this right. The second bribery was thrown out because can't be utilized. We just went over that. It was because hold on, I'm going to pull it up on my notes and just go directly to it from my phone because I have it set up so I can do that just to make my life easy. Okay. No police report. So under California law, with no police report, it can't be bribery. And another thing was they dropped the conspiracy for bribery because they said, so prosecution's like, yo, we're trying to make this simple for the jury. We don't want all of these confusing things where the defense can manipulate the meaning and change it up. We're going to make it real simple. So we're going to drop these theories of aiding and abetting trafficking, of attempt at arson, of the conspiracy to commit kidnapping. We're just going to say arson, trafficking, and kidnapping. If they had an airtight case, there would have been no reason to drop it. They dropped it because they can't prove it. They're scrambling. And their closing arguments were powerful. By the time they were done with their closing arguments, I was like, guilty. And then defense was like, wait, hold up, I'll turn. And their closing arguments weren't that great, but they were sufficient. They said these women begged for these extra partners. They said, where did the gun suddenly magically appear when there was never a gun before with the kidnapping? The arson, why is his fingerprints not on the DNA? You saying you saw him, you couldn't have seen him do it because he didn't do it. Like, what? There's no evidence of any of these things you're saying. Now, we're not saying Diddy is an innocent person and should be walking free. What we are saying is prosecution did a very poor job of presenting a RICO case. And that's going to be all there is for tonight. I'm going to mention that honorably that Fat Joe is now being targeted for a trafficking offense. And his crime seemed very similar to Diddy. So it seems like this has been going on in the business. So now Bad Boy has been joined by, oh God, what is Fat Joe's record label in the Bronx? It seems that there are now more people here. Hello to Miss Jude. Welcome to the chat. You came in at the closing hour. We're going to be back again live on Sunday. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump and some of the things going on, the big bad bill. And well, thank you for coming. We're going to be talking about the big bad bill. We're going to be talking about the war in Iran that is off again. Maybe I think Trump just threatened to bomb them again. I don't know. We'll be talking all about it on Sunday. I'll be talking about it with my longtime friend, Bronx District Leader, MAGA enthusiast, the Honorable Dion Powell. I thank everybody for coming tonight. I hope to see you again soon. This is LC. Before I sign out, please, once again, feel free to join the free thinking community